There is so much pain in the world, and it often feels completely pointless. But what if we have been looking at it all wrong? It touches every heart, as if deliberately refusing to let us ignore it. It comes in many forms: the quiet ache of loneliness, the sharp sting of loss, the relentless cycles of worry, regret, and overwhelm. Sometimes it arrives suddenly, shocking, and raw. Other times it lingers, a subtle weight we barely notice but cannot shake. And when we feel it most, it seems endless, as though life itself conspires to remind us of our fragility. We are taught to see suffering as an enemy, something to escape or fix, as proof that we are small, separate, or broken. And yet, could it be that this feeling of futility is itself a signal? That pain, and all its heaviness, is quietly pointing us toward something deeper, something we have been conditioned not to see. Most of the time, we respond to suffering with resistance. We distract ourselves, numb ourselves, or analyze endlessly, trying to make it fit into a story we can control. We scroll, we busy ourselves, we seek comfort in fleeting distractions, anything to avoid sitting with the raw, uncomfortable feeling that it is here and we cannot immediately fix it, and in doing so, the echo of the pain only grows louder. It is easy to mistake the sound for the source. Our minds replay every grievance, every failure, every imagined threat, and the cycles seem unending. But echoes are never the origin. Pain is the reflection, the surface vibration of something beneath, a thought, a misperception, a hidden invitation. The heaviness you feel, the sense of pointlessness, is not proof that life is meaningless. It is a doorway. Look closely at your own experiences. Are there patterns, familiar forms of sorrow or fear that keep returning? Perhaps the same anxieties appear in different guises, the same frustrations surface in endless cycles, the same heartbreak seems to echo through time. These repetitions are not punishments, nor are they proof that life is cruel. They are gentle signposts, pointing to the places within where perception is waiting to shift. Consider how many moments pass in which pain feels meaningless, a disagreement that lingers longer than it should, a sense of emptiness when comparing yourself to others, a quiet longing that no accomplishment seems to fill. These moments feel like proof that life is arbitrary, that nothing has order or reason. And yet, each is an opportunity, a nudge to pause, to notice, to consider that beneath the surface of frustration or grief, there is always something more to perceive. Pain is never truly meaningless, even when it feels so. Its seeming pointlessness is the mask that draws our attention inward. Beneath the surface of grief, frustration, or fear, there is always a quieter presence, a stillness that cannot be shaken, a guidance that has always been here, patiently waiting for us to notice, and yet we rarely pause long enough to perceive it. To move beyond the cycle, we do not need to force understanding or pretend the pain is absent. We need only to notice it differently, to hold it in awareness without judgment, to ask gently, what is this pointing toward? What am I missing by seeing only the surface? Could it be that even this heaviness has a purpose I have not yet understood? In asking, a subtle shift occurs. The mind, used to insisting on the reality of suffering, softens. The echo begins to quiet. And in that quiet, something new emerges, a sense that there is more here than the pain itself, that the heaviness carries within it the seeds of insight. The patterns of our struggles are mirrors, reflecting the mistaken assumptions we hold. Each recurring fear, each repetitive ache, each familiar sorrow is not random. They are invitations to recognize the beliefs that have kept us tethered to illusion, the belief that we are alone, that we are separate, that love and guidance are distant. When we notice this, gently and without judgment, we create the space for understanding to emerge. Even when suffering seems relentless, even when it feels completely pointless, it cannot truly be so. Its persistence points to our attention, reminding us that something within is ready to awaken. Each ache carries the possibility of insight. Each moment of heaviness is a doorway to a deeper knowing. And the first step is simply to pause, to notice, and to allow ourselves to sense that what feels like emptiness may actually be guidance waiting to be heard. Imagine the echo of pain as a storm at sea. Its waves are strong, and the wind howls with the familiar cries of fear and doubt. But beneath the surface, below the turbulence, the waters remain steady, the currents constant. The quiet depth is always present, even when the storm seems unending. Your awareness is the vessel that can move through the storm without being swept away, that can notice the depth beneath the chaos and feel the subtle guidance that has always been there. The mind may resist. The habitual story of life as unfair, fragile, or punishing is strong. But if we hold the pain with curiosity rather than resistance, if we invite ourselves to look beneath its surface, the first cracks appear in the cycle. A subtle stillness emerges. A quiet clarity, almost imperceptible at first, begins to hint that the pain is not the final word, that behind its heaviness, there is a steady presence, a gentle intelligence that has always been here. This is the doorway. It is not a distant ideal, nor a promise of immediate relief. It is a subtle invitation to notice the pointlessness and at the same time to sense that it cannot truly be pointless. To hold the ache without fear, and in doing so, allow the first whispers of guidance to emerge. The echo has served its purpose. It has called your attention. It has demanded presence. And now, in the pause, the quiet begins to speak. The echo of pain has served its purpose. It has called your attention. It has demanded presence. And now, in the quiet that follows, a subtle awareness begins to emerge. It is not loud, nor is it sudden. It is more like a gentle pulse beneath the surface, a whisper of guidance that has always been there, waiting for you to notice. This is where the true journey begins. The heaviness you have carried, the cycles you have endured, are no longer just burdens. They are messengers, pointing toward a deeper understanding. The question is no longer, why do I feel this way? But what is this experience ready to teach me? To step through this doorway, we begin by learning to listen, not with the busy mind that reacts and analyzes, but with the quiet, attentive presence that allows insight to unfold. The patterns that once seemed endless now become signposts. Each recurring thought, each familiar ache, each moment of discomfort carries a message, subtle yet precise, pointing toward the wisdom that has always resided within you. And so the journey continues, from recognizing the pointlessness of pain, to seeing it as a guide, to opening the pathway to your own soul's wisdom. It is here, in this still, reflective space, that insight begins to emerge. The heaviness that once dominated your perception no longer defines your reality. Instead, it becomes a lens, allowing you to see the deeper currents beneath the surface of your experience. Here, guidance may appear in the form of gentle nudges, intuitive knowing, or a profound sense that some pieces of life are already unfolding exactly as they should. To access this wisdom, notice which thoughts, fears, or habits return repeatedly. Which moments trigger tension, judgment, or grief. These are not obstacles or evidence of failure. They are signposts, pointing toward what the soul is ready to illuminate. Beyond surface-level discomfort lies the root of recurring unrest, waiting patiently for acknowledgement. By simply noticing without judgment, you begin to quiet the external noise and invite the inner voice to speak. This inner voice is not a command or strict instruction. It is a subtle awareness, a quiet pulse that guides rather than forces. It may appear as a feeling of certainty in the midst of confusion, a calm presence when chaos surrounds you, or an intuitive nudge toward choices that align with your truest self. Often, it speaks in the spaces between thoughts, in the pauses where the mind is not rushing to categorize or control. Learning to listen requires patience, gentleness, and trust, the trust that something deeper has always been guiding you, even when you could not feel it. Visualize this wisdom as a light within. It is not distant or separate. It is already part of you. Imagine it glowing quietly beneath the surface, responding to your attention. Each time you notice it, however briefly, it strengthens. You do not need to conjure it or earn it. It simply reveals itself when you stop resisting and begin observing. In moments of overwhelm, return to this light, anchoring yourself in its steady presence, letting it guide your perspective and decisions. Real-life experience shows that even in ordinary life, people who begin to trust this guidance transform their relationship with challenges. What once felt overwhelming becomes navigable. Decisions once clouded by fear are met with clarity. Relationships deepen not because they are free from difficulty, but because presence and understanding shift the way we respond to them. The wisdom of the soul is not abstract. It manifests in every choice, every interaction, and every moment of awareness. Embodying this wisdom requires practice. Begin by translating insight into action. When a pattern or recurring discomfort surfaces, pause and ask, what does my deeper self know in this moment? What would it choose? Then act in alignment with that quiet guidance. Over time, choices become less reactive and more reflective, less driven by fear and more guided by inner clarity. Life moves from a series of survival responses to a fluid navigation of awareness, where each moment is an opportunity to live from the depth of your own knowing. Even amidst external chaos, the inner wisdom remains accessible. Challenges do not disappear, but the lens through which they are experienced shifts. The heaviness of past suffering is no longer a weight that drags you down. It is a doorway, a reference point that continually calls you back to presence and understanding. By returning again and again to the inner light, you cultivate a rhythm of awareness that stabilizes and sustains you. The impact of living in this alignment extends beyond the self. As you embody clarity, compassion, and presence, your actions ripple outward. Simple gestures of patience or understanding influence the people and environments around you. The more you align with the quiet intelligence of your own being, the more it informs your choices, your words, and your interactions, creating subtle but profound shifts in the world around you. Your awakening is not only a gift to yourself, but a quiet ripple that reaches far beyond. To sustain this connection, cultivate daily practices of attention and reflection. Pause at the beginning or end of each day to notice your inner state. Observe moments when the mind is restless, when fear or frustration arises, and gently invite awareness into those spaces. Meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in quiet observation can strengthen your connection to the inner voice. Over time, what once felt like fleeting glimpses of guidance becomes a consistent, reliable presence in your life. And there is a final, transformative truth. The seeming pointlessness of pain is now understood differently. What once felt like an obstacle, a meaningless burden, has become a teacher. The heaviness, the cycles, the discomfort, all have served as a mirror reflecting what needed to be seen. And in this reflection, the soul's wisdom shines, offering clarity, courage, and a profound sense of alignment with life itself. Pause, reflect, and share your insight. The awareness you cultivate quietly radiates, inspiring others in ways you may never fully see. If this message resonates with you, consider subscribing to continue this journey of gentle awakening and insight so you can return to these reflections whenever you need guidance, calm, or perspective. Every time you choose awareness over reaction, presence over distraction, clarity over fear, you awaken a little more. Every moment becomes an opportunity to live from the depth of your own knowing, to navigate life with grace, and to transform what once seemed like pain into a doorway to wisdom, understanding, and peace.